Hi everyone, so I thought I would do a Q&A. So obviously I put on my story, asked me a question, and yeah, you guys did. That was a lot. But I've picked 12 out of the questions that I was asked, just to keep it on the short side, I guess. But yeah, I thought this would be fun, especially during lockdown. Okay, so one of the questions was, how have you coped with lockdown? Okay, this is a good question. So, at first, I was okay with the situation and sort of where I was. Obviously, I was in Australia when everything happened, and I have family out there, so I was staying with my auntie. I've got two aunties either side of Melbourne. Um, so I was between the two before the rule was that you can't go between households, but that was fine. So at the beginning I was okay with it, because it kind of felt like a home away from home, and then sort of the longer it went on, and things at home, like my dog got really poorly, and I just kind of felt very out of touch with a lot of things, and mentally I did start to struggle, because I'm very much a creature of habit and a creature of routine. And although I was in a place and had a base, I didn't really have everything with me that I would have needed for like day to day life. So I found that very difficult because um, obviously I was there for the Arnolds, until the show got cancelled due to COVID-19. And even with that, like I sort of spoke about in my vlog before, I sort of turned that situation around and saw like the positives of, okay, everything happens for a reason. This is the time to like, bam, let's get back into the gym and work on the improvements that need to be made. And then obviously lockdown happened, so that wasn't really an option. But in terms of how I coped with the lockdown, it's been very up and down. I was okay, and then I've had some very, very low days. And now that I'm home, I'm feeling a lot better because I'm back in sort of my space and feel like I can really get into a routine with everything that I need. So I'm grateful, obviously, that I had a place to stay when I was in Australia, and obviously because my aunties live in Australia, it's not as though I can see them every weekend. It's sometimes once every 2 years or once a year or even longer than that. So I think everything had a silver lining. I got to spend time with family that I hadn't seen for a while. And also I had a lot of time for self-reflection. So even though I did sort of feel very up and down, I kind of had a lot of time for self-reflection and for things I really, really want to work on, and how I can be a better Ree, I guess. So yeah, I am feeling much more positive now, for sure, even though we're still in this and things are easing, but now I can really see, and the support that I've had while I've sort of been away as well, like, has been absolutely incredible. So next question, have you been training during lockdown? Yes. Not the way I would normally train. And I think I'm very adaptable in terms of like, okay, let's try this, let's do this, let's do this. But then I miss my sanctuary is like really like lifting heavy, and just that feeling of, I don't know, it's really hard to explain. So again, like when I started these home workouts, I didn't really have much to work with at the time. But I was like, it's okay, it's something new, it's absolutely fine. And then my mind started playing tricks on me. And I was like, oh my God, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, it's more about really, 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 really being adaptable to the situations. So yes, and also I did get access to a little facility while I was in Australia, a garage that had some awesome equipment in it. So thank you, Talia. And it was just that little change really like helped my mindset as well. But now that I'm home, training is much, much, much better, which again makes my mind much, much, much better. Like everything is, all my clogs are working together now. Okay. What did you do to stay positive while being away from home for so long? Okay, for one, I wasn't always positive. Um, and I think sometimes my biggest downfall is don't like um, I don't like people knowing that I'm not okay. Like that shouldn't really be an issue, or like that makes me sound like I'm not always being transparent. But I I don't like what's the word for it? Like if I'm not okay, I kind of just go quiet or just take myself out of the situation so that I can work on getting better rather than like I don't know, being like everything's blah blah blah. So yeah, I really love making people feel positive and happy, even if sometimes I'm not. So I would say that I wasn't always positive, but definitely the people around me helped me see that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. And like when I sort of changed my thinking, that is when I started to feel more positive and see that I had so much to be grateful for while I was away. So yeah, in terms of like if I restructure the question of what did you do to stay positive, I actually started journaling, which is what I like again showed you in my rest day vlogs. So that was one thing that I'd done, like when I was sort of thinking about self-reflection and stuff, I did start journaling, and that really helped because there is so much that goes on in this big old head, which then gets too much and I'm like, oh. I'm a big, big, big stress head. So I definitely started journaling, and that made me see things in a different light. When I put it down on paper, I was like, oh, actually, what I'm stressing about isn't a big deal at all. So that was one thing that I'd done to stay positive while I was away. Oh, a George question. How is your dog doing? He is doing okay. He is doing better. So a couple of cryptic posts on my Instagram. He was really, really poorly, to the point where my parents didn't know if he would be greeting me when I got back home. Yeah, it got that bad. And like he is like my little best friend. Like I don't know, a dog's love is like no other. And he's literally like, I was just obviously because I was so far away, I was just thinking the worst. But he is doing much better, other than escaping to the park, crossing two main roads by himself, and going missing. Other than that, he's doing okay. He's much better. Not much better. He's doing better. He's more himself. Okay. How old am I? Guess. No, I'm 26. I am 27 next month in June. Gemini. How tall am I? Okay, so I am 5'2.5". For some reason, a lot of people think I'm taller than I am, but I think my legs make up for a lot of my height, or lack of, or illusion that I'm taller than I am. But yeah, I'm 5'2.5". When am I competing? When am I competing? When am I competing? When am I competing? So this question is kind of in the air at the moment. Just because obviously like conditions haven't been perfect at the moment, and I really want to sort of get some good quality time under my belt before I get back on stage. And by quality time, I mean getting back into training and getting on a routine and just making sure that every single box is ticked before thinking about that. So there is obviously going to be a show, but when, not too sure. And I'm actually okay now that my mind is like, okay, I'm home, yes, let's do this. Like Monday we changed everything up, we've got a new plan, new food, new training. Like I feel so good at the moment. And yeah, so keep pushing on that, and it will just be like, we'll see what happens. So as for that question, when am I competing? I'm not too sure, but it will happen. Oh, what made you get into competing? Oh, I keep clicking. I'm really talk with my hands. What made you get into competing? Okay, so it was, I quit diving. I had to step away. So before getting into competing, I was a diver down in Plymouth, and I stepped away from diving at the beginning of 2016, just due to like endless battles with my mental health, and I felt like I was doing like more harm than good, and I was just like, I just need to take a step back and just have some breathing space. And yeah, so I walked away from diving in 2016. And then I was also a personal trainer. So I graduated from university in the end of 2015, and then I got my job as a personal trainer. So I was working. And then one of my friends was like, have you ever thought about competing? And I was like, I don't know, but I did kind of miss the competitive edge of diving and kind of having something to work towards. But obviously I didn't want to start putting pressure on myself. So I just started training. I was like, okay, I really like this. And it was kind of helping me get better. So I carried on training, if you could really call it that. And then I was like, okay, I went to watch a show and I was like, okay, yeah, I think this is like, I feel like this is something I could do. And then it would give me a goal to work towards. And I was like, there's going to be no pressure. If I don't want to do it, I don't have to. I can walk away any time. But having something to work towards, let's give it a go. So I remember I was just like, oh, okay, this show looks good. It was the English Grand Prix. Yeah, and that was it. Like I got on stage in my £40 green bikini with about 7 rhinestones on it. And yeah, I loved it ever since. And then it was kind of like I started to find me again. So on so many levels, like bodybuilding is so important to me. And I think it always will be, because it's helped me in more ways than one. Okay, next question. When am I down in Plymouth again? Yeah, there's no rush for me to go to Plymouth ever again. However, to see you and train in your conservatory gym, yes, I would come down for that, and to see your doggos, of course. But other than that, there wouldn't be a rush for me to go down there again. Okay, what is your next suit colour? Well, wouldn't you like to know? I would like to know. Okay, so I have dabbled in a few colours now. I've had red, I've had like black ombre to purple, I've had purple, a couple of times I've had purple, I've had blues, I've had 3 blues now, so my Olympia and Arnold's shows and my Chicago show bikinis were all blue, and I love blue at the moment, but there is like a couple of things I'd like to try, but when the time comes I'll be hitting Mandy up, and my sponsor, Black Ice Bikinis, and literally she's amazing. I will just throw my ideas that way and she will hit me back with something which is incredible. So in terms of what is my next suit colour, I'm not too sure just yet. I've got some ideas, but I will let you know. Ooh, favourite movie? Ugh. This is hard. This is really hard. It shouldn't even be hard. Do you know what it probably is? Hey you guys! It's probably the Goonies. I love the Goonies. 12. What kind of cardio do you do, and how do you get that waist so tiny? So I've dabbled in a lot of different types of cardio. HIIT, LISS, mixture of them both. Most recently it's been steady state, and most recently it's just been tracking steps, and that's kind of what we do until we need to use cardio as a direct tool. So yeah, tracking steps at the moment. I'm tracking at 10,000 a day, which I break up during the day now that we're allowed out more than once a day. And how do I get that waist so tiny? Honestly, it's through diet and also core control, and I've recently started doing vacuums as well. But yeah, that is the Q&A done, which is quite fun. So yeah, I just want to wish you all an amazing day, and also hope you're all staying safe